Boom. So first and foremost, before we start, I want to give a shout out to my brother, Artman New Artman Boxing. Check it out. I got the Jerron and his booth shirt.
Okay.
Shout out to him. Yo, he makes some good ass quality shirts, bro.
He
Check him
could
out.
put
But
one with
anyways,
Andre. He could put one out with Andre Ward on there.
he could put, I think he already has one, a couple of one with Andre Ward in them already, to be
Hold
honest with you.
on, I need to get his information here.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I got you. I'm going to send it to you on Messenger. Not a problem. Like I said, he makes some good stuff. But anyways, so let's hop on really, really quickly. Let's just get right into it. So the Caleb Plant, David Benavidez fiasco that's been happening now. It's getting on my nerves. It's getting on my nerves. Caleb Plant has been around some BS the past couple of days. First of all, it was supposed to be David Benavidez and Caleb Plant for September. That didn't work out. Adrian, I'm gonna send you that in a minute. Give me a second. It's supposed to be David Benavidez, Caleb Plant for September. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. I had my boy Brandon sit down with Jose Benavidez Sr. and pretty much he said Caleb Plant turned it down, and David Benavidez, or actually Caleb Plant, was supposed to fight. Who was it? Or at least alleged to fight. I think it was Anthony Durrell.
Anthony
But then
Durrell.
Anthony Durrell came out and said that was all cap.
No.
What do you think about all this shit, man? All this shit involving Caleb Plant is just BS. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a little frustrating. It's just turning into like a soap opera now at this point. To be quite honest with you,
I don't think Anthony Durrell. He didn't say it was BS. People were saying that the fight was already made, and Anthony Durrell was saying that the fight wasn't finished yet. It was getting, because I know that Showtime they asked Steven Espinosa about Caleb Plant, when would he be in the near future, and they were saying they were still in the process of finalizing him and Anthony Durrell. But people were talking as if it was finalized, and Anthony Durrell was saying that no fight has been finalized yet. So don't believe anything you hear.
wow.
But I definitely listen. I that's an interesting matchup, him and Anthony Durrell. But to speak on what you're saying, when they were talking about when Benavidez Senior was talking about making a fight with Caleb Plant for September, my first thing, I'm not gonna lie, I was saying like I hope that Caleb takes a fight in between that, and not just wait until September, because he hasn't fought since November 6th of last year. And I don't know how much, anybody that's watching this, I don't know how much boxing you guys know, but I know for sure David Benavidez is not a dude you want to just walk in there with like off of a long layoff, bro. That's not a dude you want to walk in there with just coming off of a long layoff. So regardless, regardless Caleb being stopped, he was stopped, but he wasn't like knocked out to where he needs to take time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I was hoping that like he would take some type of fight in between that. So I was kind of glad the Anthony Durrell fight even took place. I was actually hoping for him to take that fight before he took a Canelo fight, but that opportunity presented itself, so I can't be mad at him for taking it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So speaking of David Benavidez, he's got I don't want to say a hard task against David Lemieux, because honestly, David Lemieux, to most people, is considered wash. But I mean, he's still got enough tank and gas in the tank where he could maybe give David maybe like a round or two at the very most of some decent work. I mean, what do you think of that fight? Do you think David washes him easy? Do you think that's going to be a competitive fight? Do you think David Lemieux's still got enough in the tank to even make this competitive, or you think like this is a wash up?
I'm not on my phone. I'm not on my phone like texting. I'm looking up David Lemieux because I'm trying to see when the last time he fought. I know he was supposed to fight at one point like last year, or the year before last, but passed out at the weigh-ins, and they had canceled this. Maybe that was I forgot when that was, but he was supposed to fight. Okay, and so he fought last year, and okay. Nah, man. David Lemieux has cracks. We all know that. But nah, bro. I think his time came and shortly left. I think that David Benavidez. Well, but see, the thing that makes it interesting is David Benavidez is there to be hit. He's there to be hit. And he knows it too. And David Benavidez, though he has power, David Benavidez doesn't have one punch knockout power. And I think he even said that himself. So I can see that I can see this fight being fair and friendly. I don't think that Lemieux has too much success, especially the later the fight goes. I probably would say maybe we get a 6, 7, 6 to 8 round stoppage by David Benavidez.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes for a fun fight, being that David Benavidez is there to be hit.
Yeah. I was just gonna say. I mean, honestly, I love David Lemieux, man. Grew up watching him, love him, but right now, like, he's pretty much a stepping stone at this point. I don't really see him giving David Benavidez any trouble at all whatsoever. Maybe he might land 1 or 2 shots that might make you go, oh, but other than that, that's about it. I think this is going to be a very easy fight for David Benavidez. I do not see him struggling at all whatsoever, other than catch him like a punch or two. I really don't see him being troubled, being even wobbled or anything, honestly.
Do you know the scary part about David Benavidez, twin?
What's that?
I'm gonna tell. And you're a fighter yourself, so I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I know it's happened to me. Where when you hit somebody like a David Benavidez and that dude freaking smiles and keeps coming forward, bro, like that shit.
you know, they say usually when they do that, when a fighter does that, it means that like it was a good punch. But I'm not so sure, because I've been hit with some shots. I've been hit with some shots that have made me smile, and it was literally just because it was like, yo, your punch didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
That's someone behind it. I've been in there with heavyweights, bro. This dude named Lorenzo. Dude was a heavy. Well, he used to compete. He doesn't compete anymore. But man, where I would hit dude and dude to just smile and just keep coming forward, and that shit like pisses me off, bro. It's like, what the hell, bro? It just hits you with everything.
Yo, that shit. I don't know. To me, it's discouraging, because in my opinion, it's like, yo, I just hit you with like, bro, all of my might, and you should smile. To me, it means like it didn't do anything to you, you know. But the David Benavidez Caleb Plant beef, man. Do you think that fight ever gets done?
I did it's funny that you say that. I just I did a history on their beef. I made a video about the history of their beef from start. You got to check that out. I'm gonna send you the link to that, twin. You got to check that out.
Yo, listen, bro. The history between these two goes way back, and like it's gotten personal. But go ahead.
They were actually cordial at one point, not cool, but cordial at one point. But it's definitely gotten personal, and man, I put it like this, man. I think that, and y'all know my history with Caleb Plant. I love him. I think that David Benavidez wants that fight more than Caleb Plant does, though.
And why is that? Why do you think that?
Body language, not even just body language. From watching the first time they encountered, right? And I'm really good at reading body language and just reading a lot of stuff into people, right? The first time they had the video, they had a video together with Ellie Setback. They were talking about, you know, hey, when you guys are up and coming. Caleb Plant at that time hadn't even fought for the IBF belt. Matter of fact, this was around the time Caleb Truax and James DeGale was fighting. This was after their weigh-in. And so Caleb Plant, you know, he was like, you know, talking to Ellie Setback, and David Benavidez was there, and he was like, man, when we gonna see y'all fight? And David Benavidez was like, man, listen, people say that he you know, I hit hard, I put people to sleep. People don't say that about him. And when he gets the IBF belt, I'm gonna take the belt from him. And then, you know, Caleb Plant was more so like, you know, this is one of the greatest offensive fighters in boxing, and I'm one of the greatest defensive boxers. Like, you could just tell like David Benavidez wanted that fight. He wants it.
So let me just ask you, because it kind of seems like you want to say it, but you don't want to say it. Are you saying that Caleb Plant does not want to smoke with David Benavidez?
I'm not gonna say he's a fighter. I can't say that, but I'm gonna say he's not in a rush. If that fight has to be made for him to take that fight, meaning that if David Benavidez, if Caleb Plant, if David Lemieux was to be injured, right, and Caleb Plant's talks with Anthony Durrell fell through. David Benavidez be like, hey, come on, Caleb, we can fight right now. Whereas Caleb Plant was like, nah, I want to do this first and then we can fight. You know
what's crazy, bro? I've actually said that a couple of times. I said, to me, it looks like David wants this fight more than Plant, but I don't blame him. I don't blame him because Caleb Plant just came off of fighting Canelo Alvarez. So these, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go from fighting Canelo Alvarez to fighting like big money fights. You know what I mean? Like, you want superstars now at this point. David Benavidez isn't exactly there yet. No. He will be in the future, but right now he's just not there. I don't know what other, maybe a Charlo fight and Caleb Plant fight. That could be something. That could be another possibility for Caleb Plant. But right now, I agree with you. I don't think Caleb Plant wants this fight as much as David Benavidez. I honestly don't think he wants this fight at all, to be quite honest with you. So, honestly, I don't. I'm
not gonna say. Did you see? Did you see the video when they were in the gym and they all got to fighting?
Oh yeah, with Jose. Yeah. When they put up, they were
how messed up was it? I always felt so bad for Caleb's trainer. Because it was like, how messed up was that? Caleb hit him, and then all of a sudden, like, they just start beating up on the trainer.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. I said, Heaven Nice says, let Caleb have a warm-up. Yeah, let him have a warm-up. But the thing is, I don't know who he wasn't he like in line or in talks to fight with somebody really not that like relatively known. I know Anthony Durrell was name thrown out there, but obviously Anthony Durrell shut it down. He said that that's all bullshit. But I don't know who warm up. Caleb Plant, he has to have a warm up. If like let's say indeed David Benavidez and Caleb Plant do fight in September, Caleb Plant he has to have a warm up. There's no way he's gonna jump from getting TKO'd by Canelo to David Benavidez. That's insane. I mean, if he does it, that's crazy.
Legacy wise and business wise, that's not smart.
No, not at all whatsoever. Not at all whatsoever. So I agree with Heaven Knight. Let Caleb have a warm up. I don't know against who. Honestly, I can't really think of some names. Anthony Durrell would have been perfect.
Well, but, no. Let me just remind you, Steven Espinosa said that fight is being finalized, and Anthony Durrell was telling people like, "Hey, no, this fight is not." Anthony Durrell, people were talking like the fight has already been finalized, and Anthony Durrell was like, "No, this fight has not been finalized yet, so don't. It's not official yet."
Okay, so that is a fight that's probably more than likely going to get made in the future. More than likely, so I like that fight. Anthony Durrell is a guy, you know, he's got a track record. Everybody knows who he is. He's got a name. At least on paper, it looks good. Everybody knows he's washed up. But it's a very, very good warm-up fight. It is a good warm-up fight. Does it get him ready for a guy like David Benavidez? No, but I mean, there's not many guys. You know, he's already been in there with the best, which is Canelo Alvarez. There's not many guys out there that resemble the kind of power and intensity that David Benavidez brings.
And the size.
Yeah, no, the dude is huge. Honestly, a lot of people call him weight bully.
Man, listen, he gonna have to spar Zordo Ramirez if he want to get prepared for David Benavidez. If I'm being honest.
Yep, I agree 100%. I mean, who do you like in that fight? Honestly, Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. Who do you like in that fight?
Huh? I can't hear you. Huh?
I said, who do you like in that fight?
You gonna make me answer that, twin? All right.
I'll put you on the spot.
All right. So in that fight, I see Caleb Plant winning the first half of maybe not the first half, but at least the first 4 rounds. Not even so much of what Caleb Plant does is what David Benavidez lets him do. Like, because I think it's obvious that I don't think Caleb Plant can hurt David Benavidez. Not serious enough for him to. And Caleb Plant also, he has conditioning issues. I don't know how many people noticed that, but I've noticed this since the Uskatiki fight, where Caleb Plant fades in the later half. And what more? Listen, when you have a bull coming at you, just coming at you, that's gonna take it, you know, and you popping him with everything, and he's constantly coming at you. That's gonna take your energy away even faster. I think that I do not want to say this shit, man. I think that David.
It's okay. I
think David Benavidez stops him in the later rounds, but.
Ooh.
but I'm still riding for Caleb.
Okay, so you know what? I'm glad you're on because you fought Caleb Plant. Is Caleb Plant really pillow fisted? And you can be honest. It's okay.
Hey, Caleb Plant, if you see this, bro, listen, I'm on your side, bro. So listen, I'm on your side, bro. So hey, I can be your sparring partner for Anthony Durrell. He goes southpaw sometimes. But is Caleb pillow fisted? No. He's strong. He's not the hardest by far. He's not the hardest puncher off guy that I've been in the ring with, but he has power where you just don't want to just walk into it all night. He's strong, but he's not. Okay. Let me say this. I'm sorry, twin. Let me say this. He's strong, but out of a 1 through 10, it's like a 6. But if those sixes keep adding up, the shit's gonna hurt. So you just can't sit there and take it all night.
Okay.
But he's strong. You can be strong and not hit the hardest. He's physically strong.
All right, that's fine. I get exactly what you're saying. Like you could take a wooden spoon and hit a tree, and at some point it's gonna chop. It's gonna take you a long time, but eventually it's going to, it's gonna go through.
What you just said, you broke it down perfect right there.
Yeah. So I like I like Caleb Plant in this fight if it does happen. Honestly, the problem is David Benavidez is a guy that likes to come forward. He comes forward. He doesn't necessarily have like a one-punch knockout power, like you said. He likes to throw punches and bunches, a barrage of punches, fast combinations. Love the way David Benavidez fights. But a guy like Caleb Plant, honestly, he's so defensive. It's really, really difficult to land more than like 2 shots at a time. Like I was watching Canelo, and Canelo was really, really going for the body most of the times, because that's really the only place he could hit Caleb Plant clean, right? David Benavidez, he's a big guy. He's strong, very strong, probably stronger than Caleb Plant. Big dude, lightning fast, probably faster than Caleb Plant. But honestly, bro, Caleb Plant, he loves to move. He loves to move. I don't want to say run. I hate saying that word. But he likes to be on his bicycle a lot. He likes to box. When the first like 5 or 6 rounds against Canelo, they were great. He was moving. He was boxing. Canelo couldn't hit him clean. So honestly, I see something similar to that. And I don't think David Benavidez has the one knockout punch power that like Canelo has. I don't think he does, honestly. And I do not see Caleb Plant standing and banging on him. I mean, that's suicide. If he does that, he's going down. So I like Caleb Plant in that fight. Worst case scenario, it's going to be a fight that was very competitive. David Benavidez could win the decision. I don't see that happening. I see him, if he wins, I only see him winning by TKO. Yeah. But I like Caleb Plant in that fight. I really do.
Caleb Plant is definitely the better boxer between the two. That's without a doubt.
Yeah, see, this comment right here, perfect. Plant's got an annoying style. 100% right. Annoying? He's got an annoying style. He's got that style that like you struggle with.
Okay. It's hard to look good. It's hard to look good against him.
It's hard to look good against him. Okay. And another thing too, and this is why I believe that Canelo Alvarez, this is completely out of subject, but this is why I believe Canelo Alvarez, no matter when, he could have never beaten Mayweather because he struggled. Right now, he's 31. He's in his prime peak. He's at his peak, best he's ever looked, right? Mm-hmm. He's still struggling with this kind of style. The annoying style, the American style, hit, don't get hit, boxing style, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it running. Some people call it boxing.
Well, man, people that call it running don't know boxing because first and foremost, why am I going to give up my attributes to make this a fan for the fans?
Exactly. Why am I gonna make this fight easier for you?
And that's why I'm glad you said that, twin. Because the thing is, my job as a fighter is not to make it easier for you. So why? Right. And then David Benavidez being such a big guy, why the hell am I gonna stand toe to toe with this dude? And I already have pillow fist. You know what I'm saying? So, no.
You know what's funny, man? I've realized over the years, and this is so funny. I remember, I'm not gonna say his name. I don't want to put him on blast, but there was a coach that I knew personally, and on Facebook groups, he would call Mayweather a runner. He would say that Mayweather just all he does is run. But it's so funny because when he trained his fighters, and I actually went to the gym that he ran, and I saw one of his fighters sparring, he was screaming out, "Box him, stick and move."
Get
The
on your
same guy
bicycle.
that called Mayweather, who sticks and moves, a runner, was the same guy shouting the stick and move to his fighter. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny how that is, bro? These coaches are something else, man.
No, it irritates me, man, because it's like, bro, the art of boxing is to hit and not get hit. And if I'm giving up so much advantages, if I'm already I'm not the harder puncher out of us. All right, I'm the smaller guy out of us. If I sit there and bang with you, I'm giving you now when you bang, I don't care who you are. You can be Mayweather versus Arturo Gatti, right? If Mayweather would have stood there and banged with Arturo Gatti, you now give Arturo Gatti a 50% chance to beat you when you can easily do what Mayweather did and you give him not even a 5% chance to win. So why would you give up all these? Why would you give up all these attributes just to make it? No, it's not.
Yeah, that's why I'll never understand that. Stand like a real man and bang.
No, man, I'm a real man because I'm getting in this ring and we're fighting.
Yeah, when you're in a street fight, you don't try to make it easier for your opponent.
Exactly.
You want to end the fight and get out of there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The same thing with boxing. Nobody wants to play into your strengths. If I know you're a brawler, I'm not gonna brawl with you.
I'm not gonna.
It's like Mayweather say, I take their best attribute and I use it against them.
Use it against.
It's just that's how he made the extraordinary look ordinary.
Yo, rest in peace. Oh, Roger Mayweather. Today he died. 2 years ago he died. Today I fought against one of his fighters, bro, and that's how I ended up meeting him. Or whatnot. But yeah, just a sidebar. Rest in peace, Roger Mayweather. On this day 2 years ago, he passed away.
R.I.P. to the Black Mamba. Absolutely. But back to what I was saying, man. I really do like Caleb Plant in that fight. Would it shock me if David Benavidez TKOs him or beats him? No, not at all. I like Caleb Plant. I think his defense is just going to make it very, very difficult for David Benavidez. And even if David Benavidez wins, he's going to look bad doing so. It's going to be similar to Canelo, where it wasn't really a dominating win. It was a win either way. But I think going into the 10th round, I had it kind of tight. It was like either 5-5 or 6-4 for Caleb. You know what I mean? I kind of got to rewatch it, but I remember watching it live, and I'm pretty sure I had it 6-4 Caleb. But it was razor thin. You know what I mean? Like it was like, you know what I mean? It was like somebody had to do something special to win in my scorecard. But you know, he ended it before it went to the judges, which is great. But honestly, bro, like I really like Caleb, man. I really like Caleb. I just don't see David Benavidez being able to get his punches off with the way that Caleb moves, the way he gets on his bicycle.
David is slow on his feet too. He is slow on his
counter punching, and he Canelo is better than David Benavidez, in my opinion. He's better. So Caleb Plant was able to make Canelo miss and make him pay. Unfortunately, he just didn't have the kind of pop that like a Dimitri Bivol or even David Benavidez had. But he was able to make him miss and make him pay. Counterpunched him. He would make him miss.
He caught and man, he would catch and shoot so beautifully. Yeah. And for y'all that don't know, that's why it's so important to work on the pads, man. Oh yeah. To catch and shoot, he would catch and then shoot. You know what I'm saying? Just like that, bro. Yep. It was just a beautiful thing to watch, bro. He definitely displayed beautiful boxing. But I have a question for you, Twin. I got a question for you about David Benavidez.
Go ahead, ask me, bro.
Do you feel like David Benavidez will have the Jared Hurd syndrome? Meaning that his success comes so much because of his weight, but when he moves up in weight, because you know Jared Hurd just lost to Luis Cuba Arias or whatnot. So and I always told people, I said, man, Jared Hurd better stay at 154 as long as he can, because when he moves up, it's gonna be another ball game. And we saw what happened. So
interesting question. I'm glad you asked that. So the question was, would David Benavidez have the Jared Hurd syndrome, meaning he was dominating a lower weight division where people felt like he was being pretty much a weight bully? If he moves up to 175, will he have a tougher time? Yes, 100%. Guys like Dimitri Bivol, Arthur Beterbiev are waiting for him. Who else?
Ramirez is waiting. Gilberto Ramirez is waiting
for him.
That dude,
yeah, 100%. Because now he's going right now. Technically speaking, David Benavidez, he walks in the ring. I want to say at probably like 180 or something like that. So
more than that.
Probably like 190. something like that. So he walks around. He comes in the ring at the same weight that a light heavyweight would come in at. A light heavyweight makes weight at 175, usually balloons up to 190-ish. So, first and foremost, I want to thank Heaven Knight for the $50 donation. Thank you, Heaven Knight. You're the man. I really appreciate that.
50 piece, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for that, Heaven Knight. Appreciate that. What I keep telling you, boy, I'm proud of you, twin.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. But back to what I was saying, man. If he moves up to 175, now he's going up against guys that weigh the same as him during fight night. He struggles. I don't know if he'll lose to these guys, but he'll struggle 100%. He'll look ordinary against a guy like Arthur Beterbiev, against a guy like Dimitri Bivol. Who else? Zuro Ramirez. Those guys, I think he struggles. I think he loses to Arthur Beterbiev. I don't know if Dimitri Bivol has got the pop to keep him off him. That's like a 50-50.
Interesting style. Look, that's an interesting style. Like
it is. It is. Yeah, Zuro Ramirez. I think outboxes him.
Bro, that dude is man. I saw him and Zurdo. So they used to spar each other, and I saw them. I saw a picture of them, but man, Zurdo makes him look small, bro. I don't think that he beats Zurdo, bro. Zurdo is a big ass dude.
Yeah,
bro.
Another one, Joe Smith Jr. That's shit. I mean, that'd be a competitive fight, honestly. Joe Smith Jr. could bang, bro. Like, honestly, he really could. So
that would be a very good fight.
Yeah, it would be. To answer your question, yes, I believe he does struggle at 175. Okay. How much struggle? Can he beat the top guys? I believe he can. I wouldn't pick him to beat Arthur Beterbiev. I wouldn't pick him to beat Zurdo Ramirez. He probably beats Bivol. He probably beats Joe Smith Jr. I think Smith Jr. gives him a run for his money. Probably gives him a scare because Joe Smith Jr. can bang. I'm sorry, he could crack is what I meant. Definitely. He can crack, bro. The dude can punch. So honestly, I think Joe Smith Jr. could give him a scare or two.
Didn't Bivol beat Joe Smith Jr., didn't he?
Bivol, yes, he did. And I think in the last round, like the end, I think he wobbled Bivol, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I don't think he had enough time. I don't really remember. It was a couple years ago, but
somebody broke his jaw.
You said what?
Somebody broke his jaw, Joe Smith Jr.
Somebody broke Joe Smith Jr.'s jaw?
I don't know if it was his name just went blank. The guy, the Cuban, Andre Ward beat him first.
Oh, Sullivan Barrera.
I don't know if it was him or did so. Maybe I got my guys wrong. I don't know. I just that was just
he got rocked at the at the end of the 10th. I remember that. So Joe Smith Jr. always has that right hand.
Yeah,
and if it lands clean on David,
he got some long arms.
Give him a scare.
If you ever watch Joe Smith, man, that dude got some long arms, man.
Yeah. I feel so bad for Joe Smith Jr., man. He had a really, you know what I mean? He beat what's the guy's name?
Hopkins.
No. Before that, I forgot. Oh man, Fonsfara was his name.
Oh, he beat
Fonsfara. Was it?
He beat Fonsfara.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's when he kind of like started making some noise. Let me see. I think it was. Hold on. Let me see really quick.
That was before the Bernard Hopkins fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was before that. Let me see. Yeah, Andre from Farah, and then he beat Bernard Hopkins. So after he beat Hopkins, a lot of people were high on him, including me. I was like, oh shit, we got another one. We got another top 175 pounder. But then, Sullivan Barrera, surprisingly, I thought he was going to knock Sullivan Barrera out. He almost did. Mm-hmm. But, Sullivan Barrera did his thing. Then he lost to Dimitri Bivol. And he's beaten a couple of decent guys like Alvarez. Let me see who this guy is.
Who? Alader Alvarez? That's the name? Alader Alvarez?
Yeah. The guy, the one that knocked out Sergey Kovalev.
Yeah,
the guy that knocked out Sergey Kovalev. Joe Smith Jr. beat him. And then he's a WBO champion. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. He
So Smith Jr. still right now, he's still technically speaking a top light heavyweight. He's a champion right now. Yo, I love Joe Smith Jr., bro. He was like one of my favorite fighters.
What?
I thought everything he was doing in boxing was like it was so special. You know what I mean? Like this guy came from like running a construction company to becoming a champion. I think he was WBC champion. Knocked Bernard Hopkins the F out, something that's never been done. I mean, not knocked him out, but he knocked him out of the ring, something that was never done. I don't even think Hopkins was ever knocked out, honestly.
No, he that was the only time Hopkins was stopped. But if it was a funny story about that, man, when there was Hopkins was Joe Smith said that like when they were at this press conference or whatnot, Hopkins, you know how Hopkins does at a press conference, you gotta when Hopkins talks, you might as well just sit back because he's gonna be talking for a while. And like, man, they asked Joe Smith, like, man, what do you think about Hopkins? And Joe Smith was like, dude, I don't even know who the fuck he is. Like, and he said Hopkins got so mad, bro. He said Hopkins got so mad.
Yeah, he really disrespected Hopkins like that, bro. Oh my god. I
promise you, bro. He said
but honestly, bro, I think Joe Smith Jr. can really, if David Benavidez decided to move up, I think he can give him some hell. Another thing too, Demetrius Andrade, isn't he going up to 168?
Yeah, I think he vacated his WBO at 160.
Okay. So what do you think of a possible Demetrius Andrade and Caleb Plant fight, or Demetrius Andrade and David Benavidez fight?
I'd much rather see Demetrius Andrade versus David Benavidez just based off of their styles. Mm-hmm. I think that Demetrius Andrade versus Caleb Plant makes for a very, very interesting fight if you are a boxing fanatic like you or myself. Mm-hmm. But to the casual, that fight is not a fan-friendly fight. Him and Caleb Plant. Demetrius Andrade, I don't like him at 168 at all, because he's not even proven at 160 in my eyes. Mm-hmm. He's made some, of course, obviously he's, been on the shitty end of the deals but he's not. It's too much food on the plate at 160 for me to convince me, and I feel the same way about Jamal Charlo too. It's just that they don't. I don't see them. They're not gonna convince me that they can beat anybody at 168 because they haven't even done anything in their own division. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely don't see. To
be fair though, and Andre gets a lot of criticism for the lack of opponents. To be fair, Canelo has been ducking them. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's business, whether it's just he's a boring for whatever you call it, he's been ducking them. Another thing, he did have a fight lined up with Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe tested positive. That's out of Andre's control. That's slander that Demetrius Andrade gets is a little unfair, just because, like I said, he did have a fight lined up with Billy Ho, and he tested positive. Nothing he could do about that.
I'm glad you said that, Billy Ho.
And then Canelo Alvarez, honestly, he's been ducking him for whatever reason. He's been ducking Demetrius Andrade.
I'll say this too, and you know what? Everything you said is 100% facts. I can't argue with that. When Demetrius Andrade had the WBO at 154, Canelo at the time he said that fight wasn't important. Canelo was fighting at 155, and then Demetrius Andrade gets stripped, and they give the belt to Liam Smith. What does Canelo do? He moves down to 154, fights Liam Smith. Yeah, I know, and I get it, man. I feel sorry for Demetrius Andrade because he wants these fights.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Triple G won't fight him. And they're with DAZN. I understand that Triple G's not with Eddie Hearn with Matchroom, but they're still with DAZN. I would figure that would be much more easier to make. Seeing that with, I get it. He had a shitty deal, but some of those business moves was on Demetrius Andrade himself. Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. Look, like honestly, Demetrius Andrade has brought up a lot because I think he turned down a fight with Charlo, didn't he?
That's what I was gonna say. And this is just what I heard, but I heard Al Hammond is like he just washed his hands with Demetrius Andrade after that moment. He pulled out of the fight was signed, and he pulled out of the fight maybe I don't know if it was like a week or a few weeks, but he pulled out of that fight because of his promotional company issues. He signed with Rock Nation or some shit like that at the time. And he pulled out of that fight. And I've heard that Al Hammond was trying to pretty much blackball him after that. Like, we don't, what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? This comment here is interesting. Heaven Knight says the IBF screwed the fight. They forced Canelo to defend against Derevyanchenko when Canelo wanted boo-boo. Now, that's interesting because, to my knowledge, Canelo has never shown any interest in fighting Andrade. So I don't know.
Well, wait. I thought mandatory at that time that would have been for undisputed, and I thought it was like, and it's like a rule with that trumps mandatories, bro. Like unification trumps mandatories.
Mm-hmm.
And with Canelo being he had the WBC. Obviously, they're not gonna distance themselves from Canelo. But he had
Canelo. Come on, WBC.
he had the WBC, WBA, and the IBF. But I always thought that it was like a rule where unifications trump mandatory. You can skip over your mandatory if you choose to take a unification bout, and that would have been a unification bout for undisputed at 160. And Canelo said that year that he wanted to be undisputed at 160.
But was this after Triple G?
This was when Canelo said he wanted to be undisputed.
Because didn't he vacate after Triple G? Or am I mistaken? I might be mistaken.
No, I don't think he vacated.
What did he do after Triple G? What did he do? I can't remember. I think did he move up?
He had moved up and fought Rocky Fielding. No, he fought Danny Jacobs, didn't he?
Let me look it up right now, man. This is a lot of stuff to remember. My brain can only hold so much. All right, let's see.
I'm checking
Canelo Alvarez after Triple G. I'm on Wikipedia right now. Yes, he did fight Rocky Fielding, so he moved up to super middleweight. So did he? Let me see.
You might be right. I think you might be right.
Okay, and then after Rocky Fielding, he came down to fight Daniel Jacobs, and that was for the IBF title. So I believe you might be correct. He might have. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, he did fight Danny Jacobs after Rocky Fielding. So,
man.
But like I was saying, man, Demetrius Andrade can only blame himself. You know, he's turned down big paydays with guys like Charlo. You know what I mean? I can't give him too much shit for the Billy Joe Saunders fight. That was
Billy. That was Billy Ho.
But honestly, like if he would have fought, who was it? It was Jermell Charlo, right?
Jermell
Charlo.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Andre would have fought Little Charlo, beat Little Charlo, I mean, you can't. Can Canelo really deny him a fight at that point?
And at that time, at that particular time, because that was 2014, they were supposed to fight December 2014. I think Demetrius Andrade would have beaten Jermell because Jermell was still coming along. He was having issue with boxers at that time, and I think that he would have beaten Jermell at that particular time. Right now, I don't know, but back then I thought Demetrius Andrade would have beaten Jermell. Mm-hmm. He's just been in the shitty end, and it's so sad because even when he got with DAZN, right? DAZN had all these middleweights. They had Billy Joe Saunders, who was at middleweight at the time, Danny Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez, Triple G, Demetrius Andrade. So is that what, 5? Demetrius Andrade, Danny Jacobs, Triple G, Billy Joe Saunders. And who am I missing? Somebody? But they had all these middleweights, and none of these fights manifested except for Canelo versus Danny Jacobs. That was the only fight that manifested on DAZN, and so it's kind of sad, man, because he was running to the smoke. He wanted to fight. He was running to it, but the fight never came about. None of those fights with him and Billy Joe. Billy Joe wanted to test positive for shit and say it was nasal spray.
And you know what? It's just so unfortunate because like it just seems like Canelo and I'm sure people say this all the time. You guys hear this all the time, but it's just what am I supposed to think? He doesn't want to fight undefeated black fighters. He just doesn't for whatever reason. And you know what? Eddie Reynoso, you saw Eddie Reynoso said the African American style is difficult. Is a hard style. I mean, he's not lying. No. He struggled with Caleb Plant. He struggled with Billy Joe Saunders. Those guys aren't as good as Jamal Charlo is. They're not as good as Demetrius Andrade. You know, at least
I just don't think that Demetrius Andrade, man, like I don't see, like I don't know. Maybe they see something I don't, but I don't see Demetrius Andrade beating Canelo.
I don't either. Me neither.
I don't, man. I think
he stops Demetrius Andrade.
I think he stops Demetrius Andrade. I just don't, and it's So I don't know, but it's something about that man's style. Like they just are not interested in fighting, dude.
I think what it is they don't want Canelo to even have another fight that could potentially be like deemed a robbery. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
They had a fight with Floyd. Floyd washed him. He fought Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara, most people thought Lara won the fight. So it seems like Canelo just doesn't want to deal with that style anymore.
Even Austin Trout gave Canelo.
Trout gave him some good work as well. So it just doesn't seem like Canelo just doesn't want to deal with that. And
let me ask you something, Twin. Let me ask you something. Andrade is somewhat of a low-key boogeyman. How do you see Andrade's career playing out at 168?
Unfortunately, I just don't see Demetrius Andrade really getting any big fights. I don't see it. Let me. I'm trying to think of somebody at 168 that I could potentially see fighting Demetrius Andrade.
What about Callum Smith?
Maybe Callum Smith.
Yeah, Callum Smith. Maybe.
Possibly. That'd be a good fight.
Because I think Billy Joe is done.
I think if Demetrius Andrade could get a potential fight with Callum Smith, and let's say he stops him, now he has something he can throw at Canelo. Because then Canelo, when he's like, "Well, you fought nobody," we could be like, "Well, I beat Callum Smith better than you did." You know what I mean? Kind of like when Pacquiao and Floyd were like.
That's how they market Pacquiao to beat the guys that Mayweather beat in even a better fashion.
Exactly. It was like this guy is beating the guys you beat in a better fashion. So if Demetrius Andrade could even get a fight with a Callum Smith and wash him or even like knock him out, he got something to throw at. I don't think it'll work, but he got something he can throw at him.
I don't think it'll work, but I do think that's going in the right direction. If he wants to make a statement, even if he doesn't look better than Canelo, at least if you're beating the guys, Canelo has no more room to say that you fought nobody, because then at that point, if I haven't fought anybody, then you haven't fought anybody because I'm beating the guys.
Callum Smith is at 175 anyways.
Oh, shoot, for real?
Yeah, but I was just talking like what ifs. You know what I mean? Let me think. Let me look at the 168 division. You said why? I don't know.
Why?
Maybe he couldn't make 60
He was tall though. He was tall for that. He was very tall.
let me look at the super middleweight division. Let me just see.
That's new. That's news to me. Callum Smith is at 175.
Yes, sir.
That is news to me, bro. I didn't
first fight at 175.
That's why I love you, Twin, bro. You always enlighten me, bro. I didn't even know that, bro. I didn't know that dude was at 175. Wow, I don't see him having much success at 175.
Me neither.
What's the dude with the where do you? Well, that's off subject. Well,
go ahead, ask it.
Well, shoot, the dude that beat they lost to Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard. Where do you see him standing at 175?
Anthony Yard?
Yeah.
Anthony Yard at 175. I used to think Anthony Yard was the truth at 175. Honestly, I picked him to beat Kovalev. I really did. Just because he was bigger, he was stronger, or at least I thought he was stronger, he was younger. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way I thought it did. What do I think of Anthony Yard at 175? I mean, he's a solid competitor. He's solid. Can he beat the big names? I don't know. I have no idea. Like the only big name he's fought, he lost to, and he lost to clearly. And
he beat George Groves.
I mean, yeah, he beat George Groves. Wait, did he beat George Groves?
He stopped him.
He never fought George Groves.
Man, Caleb, that's why I came. Listen, all these damn fighters from the UK, man, I cannot, bro. I swear, I thought who stopped George Groves then? Somebody stopped George Groves, bro. He did. Yes, he did. He stopped him. Yeah, he knocked
Anthony Yard? George Groves?
No, I'm talking about Callum Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Anthony Yard. My bad.
No, my bad.
No. I'm sorry. I was talking about Anthony Yard, but
he hadn't. He revenged. Now Anthony Yard revenged his loss to that Lindell Arthur dude, But
yeah, right. I mean, that was a tight fight. That was kind of like, you know what I mean? It was like one of those fights where like it could have gone either way. Callum Smith, Heaven Knight, confirmed. Callum. So Anthony Yard, back to what I was saying. Anthony Yard, can he beat the big names? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, he lost to a guy, to Lyndon Arthur. The only big name he fought was a Sergey Kovalev, who was like 35 years, 36, something like that. And Canelo trashed him, even though we're all in agreement that we thought that was a fishy fight. Still trashed him.
It ain't no thinking. We know that fight was fishy.
100%. I 1,000,000% agree with you. I don't think Anthony Yard really has anything special. I don't think he'll really do anything at 175, honestly.
What do you think about the fact that he doesn't spar? That's the stupidest thing ever, ain't it?
You know what? That to me is one of the dumbest things. And you know who else used to do that? What's his name? Joe Calsaghi. He sparred, obviously. He sparred before, but he didn't do it often. I never understood why these guys don't spar. I don't get it.
And people don't even realize it's not even just about about the punches being thrown, but it's like, dude, if you don't spar, how do you know how your condition is?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. It's sparring. First and foremost, to me, sparring is fun. I like, sparring. I enjoy sparring more than I enjoy competing, just because you have nothing to lose in this. Like, we sparring. Like, if I try, you can try anything you want, and you don't have to worry about it being a knock on your record or something like that, because
right.
You're sparring. But I definitely thought I always thought that was not the smartest choice to make. You're not sparring.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what do I think of it? I think it's really stupid. I really do. I really do. I mean, Yard at this point, he's been in so many fights that it probably is okay for him. But anybody listening that's thinking about boxing or is brand new, please don't do that. Spar. You definitely got to spar. You know what I mean? Because the amount of people that I've seen hit the bag and look like Miguel Cotto on the bag, but then when they spar, they shit themselves, dude. It's like, let me tell you this funny story, bro. Let me tell you this funny ass story, man. I was at a boxing gym, right? This happened like 3 years ago. I was at a boxing gym, right? So this guy, he was always hitting the heavy bag. Very, very good on the heavy bag, right? He looked really solid. Like, I honestly thought that this guy had like 10, 15 fights, and he looked slick. At least on the back, he looked slick. He gets in the ring. It's time to spar. He actually got beat up so bad that he broke down crying. Not lying. Swear to God. All I hear, I'm doing my thing. I think I was shadow boxing or something. And then I hear all this screaming. I turn around and I'm like, what's going on? And then the coach is like grabbing him by the shoulder, and he's and the coach probably shouldn't have done this. He probably made it worse. But he was like, you need to stop being a bitch. You need to stop being a bitch. You know what I mean? And I was just like, oh, what's going on? So, I'm getting closer to the ring to see what the hell is happening. And then all I see is the kid was very pale. He was like my skin color. So, when a pale person cries, you can see it. Red face, tears coming down. That's all I see. And I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then he gets out of the ring. What up, West Coast Boxing? What's going on? He gets out of the ring, and then when something happens to somebody, everybody's kind of like quiet. You know what I mean? Like when your mom whooped your ass in front of your friend, like after she left the room, it was just quiet. It was like that. Like you could hear a mouse pissing on a piece of cotton. Like that's how quiet it was.
Gosh.
So, anyways, he goes to the locker room, takes off his stuff, whatever. 10 minutes later, he leaves, and then I'm asking him, I'm like, yo, what happened? And they're like, oh, he got his ass whooped. I was like, damn, really? And then I was like, was the guy like much better than him? He was like, no, they were about the same. So come to find out that all that kid did was hit the bag and hit pads and shadow box. Never, ever did he ever spar.
That bag got hit back, bro.
Exactly. And the reason why the kid never sparred, come to find out, the reason why the kid never sparred was because he said that he felt like he was so good that he didn't feel the need to spar. So that was the first time.
How did that work out for you?
Yeah, it didn't work out at all. But yeah, it's just sharing a little funny story, because it's like when I hear that people saying, yo, these guys don't spar. I mean, like Joe Calsaghi, he's a monster. You know what I mean? So I guess you could give these guys passes, but like I said, anybody listening that actually wants to start boxing, please don't be like these guys. You are not Joe Calzaghe. You are not Anthony Yard. Get in there, spar, know where you are.
How you're gonna react to a punch, man. Like you get in there and you don't spar, and then you get out there and somebody hits you. You don't know how you really gonna react. You can think of how you might think you know how you're gonna react, but you get in there, somebody try to knock your head off, and bro.
Pretty much. But anyways, back to Demetrius Andrade, man. Honestly, Demetrius Andrade, him moving up. You know what? Let me look at 168. Let's see.
And when you pop it up, when you bring it up, just not. I mean, of course, like the list or whatnot. But like, I want you to tell me who you think he can actually beat.
Okay, all right. So we got Canelo's number one. Obvious, he ain't beating Canelo. David Benavidez. I think he beats David Benavidez. Call me crazy.
What?
I think he does. Call me crazy. Yo, listen. Demetrius Andrade has the style that typically gives this nightmares to the style of David Benavidez. Call me crazy. I really think Demetrius Andrade can beat David Benavidez. I really do. So peep this. Let's keep going down the list. Caleb Plant. I think he beats Caleb Plant. Sorry, Caleb Plant. Love you. I think he beats you. He definitely beats Billy Joe Saunders. John Ryder.
Is he even fighting anymore? I think
I don't even know. He might be retired. Who the fuck knows? Yeah. Who the hell knows? But John Ryder, I think he beats John Ryder. Daniel Jacobs, he beats Jacobs.
I think so too.
Washes David Lemieux, Anthony Durrell, and at this point, these guys are washed. David Lemieux, that's easy. Anthony Durrell is easy. Fedor Chodinov, I don't even know how to say his name. Easy. And then Gabe Rosado. I'm sorry. Love Gabe Rosado, Puerto Rico to the fullest, but that man gets beat by everybody.
That's my
guy. I love Gabe Rosado, bro.
I've been rocking with dudes since I first saw him fight Triple G in 2013. Yeah, that's my guy.
I mean, the guy has heart. You can't teach that, but unfortunately, I
wish more fighters were like him.
Me too. But to answer your question, looking at this list, Demetrius Andrade does very, very well at 168. I think he beats most of these guys except Canelo. And that's probably about it. I think he beats everybody else pretty easy.
You see the way Demetrius Andrade is looking in this picture right here? That's how I'm looking when you said you think he beats David Benavidez. I don't see him. I don't see him beating David Benavidez, man. And,
you know what?
Only because David Benavidez' size. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
I could be wrong, bro. I mean, I've been wrong before. I'm sure I'll be wrong again. I like Demetrius Andrade's style. I really do. As boring as people claim he is, I
appreciate
even though the opposition isn't quite there. But then again, David Benavidez' opposition is about the same. It's about the same.
It is.
Well, like David Benavidez,
I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like David.
Yeah,
Benavidez.
David Benavidez has a little bit of a better resume, but it's not much. You know what I mean? Like the opposition.
And when we say better, that's solely because of Anthony Durrell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit better because Anthony Durrell is a much better name than anybody Demetrius Andrade has beaten. But like I said, the resumes aren't too far apart. It's kind of like David's is here and Andrade's is right there. You know what I mean?
Right there.
So honestly, I like this. I mean, I don't really like to go off of resumes, bro, because you know this very well. Resumes don't win fights.
No.
To me, it's based off styles, and honestly, I feel like Andrade has the style to compete against a David Benavidez and even beat a David Benavidez, honestly.
Okay, and I just got to bring up something. Is it because we can't get off of this without talking about this, bro?
Of course.
Charlo and Jaime Munguia, the situation. What do you think about that? Do you blame De La Cokehead? I mean De La Hoya.
You know what it is, bro? It seems like Jaime Munguia is moving in the same direction as Canelo Alvarez, staying away from undefeated black fighters. I don't think.
I think he's worse, bro. I think Jaime Munguia is staying away from all threats. The only reason he was chasing Triple G is because obvious that Triple G is knocking on 40. Well, he is 40. He's 40 now. I think he's 40 now. And obviously Triple G has not done pretty much a jack shit since he last fought Canelo. Mm-hmm. But I don't blame. But I don't. Well, you know what? My bad, twin. I apologize. I asked you, so let me get your take.
No. Honestly, bro, like feel free to chirp in whatever. But honestly, I think Jaime Munguia he turned down a fight with Andrade. He turned down a fight with Charlo.
And he was Andrade's mandatory. That make sense.
Right. It's like, what are we doing here? Don't you want to be like, I don't get it. Like, what is it with these guys and turning down? Like, what is up with this turning down mandatory stuff?
I've never heard. This is the boxing. This is the boxing that we've come into now. Yeah. I've never heard. The first time I heard of this was when Devin Haney was calling out Ryan Garcia. It's like, why is the champion calling out the mandatory? This doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
And now I'm exactly with Jaime Munguia and Demetrius Andrade. Like, why is the champ? You should be chasing him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, but you know what? But you know what? The problem was, I think it's because they want it. DAZN wants it on the app, and Showtime wants it on pay-per-view. So I think that's what's going on.
But if Showtime is funding that, I've never understood. Like, that's what I'm not understanding. If Showtime is funding it, right? Why would I? That's what you're basically getting free advertisement. We're Showtime. We're the one that's funding it, but you put your name on it. No, y'all not funding anything. And then furthermore, we stated, and I said they stated that if Jaime wins, the rematch would be on DAZN.
Yeah, it's a very, very weird situation, but it's more of like the conflict is between the providers the
networks.
The network, sorry. DAZN wants it on the app, Showtime wants it on Showtime or pay-per-view, whatever. So it's like it's weird. You can't do both. You know what I mean? You can't do both. You can't have like half DAZN, half pay-per-view or whatever it is they want to put it on. So it's more of like a network conflict than anything. But I do believe that Jaime Munguia does not want either Andrade or Charlo.
Let me ask you this though, Twin. Now I'm just gonna follow up with this question, Twin. Is that a tactic to avoid for that De La Hoya is using so where fans can't say Jaime Munguia is ducking? Is that a tactic? Because they agreed on everything, and then after they agreed, De La Hoya then comes and says, "Well, it has to be on DAZN too," and that's the sole reason why that fight isn't happening. So is that a tactic by De La Hoya?
I believe so. It's crazy because De La Hoya, when De La Hoya was fighting, he didn't duck anybody.
No,
he never ducked anybody.
No,
he fought Tito Trinidad. He fought Ike Quartey.
I thought he beat Tito Trinidad. I'm being honest.
Me too. 100. He fucking I'm a Puerto Rican, bro, and I tell you 100%. He washed a Tito Trinidad. That fight wasn't even close. But he fought the Tito Trinidads. He fought the Ike Quarteys. He fought the Fernando Vargas. It's like it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, do I feel De La Hoya is doing it? Yes, I do. Just how it felt. Remember when Canelo was getting, or De La Hoya was getting criticized for kind of like plummeting Canelo's career. There was a point in time where everybody was blaming him for all of Canelo's actions. It kind of feels like that's starting all over again with Jaime Munguia. You know, do I feel Jaime Munguia wants to fight Andrade and Charlo? I don't. I really don't. He already turned down a fight with Andrade. And now I don't know if this fight, technically speaking, he didn't like officially turn it down. They're kind of still talking about it. So it's still a possibility. But honestly, I feel like Jaime Munguia, he just doesn't want it. I mean, what do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I feel like, man, listen, I feel like Jaime Munguia has like got swept under the rug since he's been with DAZN. He was at a very high pace, you know, at one point. But I think that it's like, man, he's 25 now. He has 39 fights. He's like 39-0 with 30 knockouts. And it's like the biggest name on his resume is Gabe. And shout out to Gabe. That's my man's $100 grand. Every time he fight, I cheer for him. But that's not a name that's gonna sit here and satisfy me with your resume. And rightfully so. That's a creepy ass picture.
I was just about to say that. That's what I started.
Rightfully so. I think that the thing that had me excited about the Charlo Munguia fight is, you know this. I'll ride and die for Lions Only Charlo all day, especially Jamel. But Charlo has not done jack shit at 160 to make me say, all right, cool. So this is a fight that both of these fighters need. More so, I felt Jamal, because it's like Jamal is like, yeah, you fought Derevchenko. That was a good win, but it's like, my dude, I'm ready for you to step it up, not stop chasing Canelo. If Canelo don't want to fight you, cool. Let's get these other fights then, since you know. I felt like this fight, they needed each other.
Right.
And you got
right.
the black, then you got the Mexican, like that, you know, obviously that makes for a good clash in itself. Their styles mesh very well. I think that Jamal beats him comfortably because Jamal is a very good inside fighter.
100% agree.
But I thought that was gonna be both undefeated. I just thought it would have been a very good fight, but
But hey, you know what? There's still time, man. There's still time. Hey, Twin, I want to thank you so much for being on. Heaven Knight, I really, really appreciate that donation, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that was watching, man. Until next time, bro. Take it easy.
I love you, Twin. Tell my nephew bye.
Love you too, bro.